Welcome back. Piracy is on the increase worldwide. In the first half of this year, 114 incidents were reported, with much of the pirate activity happening on the African coast. In Somalia alone, from April to June of 2008, there were 24 attacks, 19 of them in the Gulf of Aden. Now, the waters between Somalia and Yemen are routinely patrolled by ships from Britain, the United States and France. Canadian naval ships have even been escorting World Food Programme shipments to Mogadishu, yet the piracy continues. And the United States' Operation Enduring Freedom is still targeting terrorist activity in the Horn of Africa, but despite this foreign presence in the region, there have been accusations the international community has not done enough to support the new government in Somalia, and it is that which is why piracy and lawlessness, continue to prevail. Still with us, our guests in Dundee, Franz Lehr, in London, Mahmoud Noor, and on the line from Mombasa is Andrew Mangura. Many thanks for staying with us, gentlemen. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see this map, but I'd like to show the viewers a wee map of the region, just to put it into some sort of context. Djibouti, you see there on the left-hand side of your screen, is where the US and France have their naval bases. The Gulf of Aden, not far away, that is where those patrols from Britain who come down from Bahrain and Russia also patrolling this area you see in orange of the Horn of Africa. Now, when you look at it on the map there, you see it's, in the grand scheme of things, it looks like a small region, and to have that number of vessels in the region, surely something should be happening. Let me put that to Franz Lehr in Dundee. What are these patrols actually doing there?
Well, you have to acknowledge that the coastline is 3,300 kilometers long, and that's quite a vast stretch of water. If you take a look, that the exclusive economic zone is another 200 nautical miles. So looking for ships and looking for pirate ships, it's actually like looking for a needle in a haystack. You see, there is this elusive hunt for a Somalian pirate mothership. Obviously, the Danish Navy intercepted a ship that might have been something like that. But so far, well, it's very difficult with this very few assets we have there. And mind you, it's not too many warships we are talking about. There are some aircraft, but also not too much. You cannot have 24/7 monitoring of Somalian waters.
No, you can't. But let me, sorry to interrupt you. Let me counter that with something which I'm sure you're familiar with. It's called UN Security Council Resolution 1816. That was passed in June, and I'm quoting the words here. Right. It spoke of decisive measures to be taken to combat piracy in the region because, quite simply, the Somali government isn't in a position to do it. Where are these decisive measures? Is this as decisive as it gets?
Well, you see, decisive measures are always good on paper and with UN resolutions, but you need somebody who is basically translated into reality. And you can see how few our chances are actually to come to grips with this problem, with this MV financing. As soon as the pirates are on board, there's nothing much you can do than shadowing, which means you have to actually intercept the pirates before they get on board, and that's quite difficult. If I would point out a solution, that would be re-establishing a convoy system for at least international shipping, because the convoy is easier to get. But that would leave all the regional shippings still unprotected. Again, I would say it looks good on paper. It's a typical strong language. But to come back to the beginning, you will only tackle the problem if you address it at land, because even piracy is a land-based problem.
Andrew Mangura on the line from Mombasa. He's, of course, from the East African Seafarers Assistance Programme. As part of that initiative, Seafarers Assistance, how much more of an active role, should I say, would you like to see these foreign forces taking?
What we can say, for the last about not 17 years that people say in the Somali waters, but according to what we've been gathered for the last 25 years, Somalia has been used. People have been dumping toxic Somali waters during Sept era, and after Sept was deported. It was when the revolution in Somalia, and the foreign company has been fishing illegal in Somalia waters. We say the only solution Somalia stop pirate fishing first. Those international forces, they can crack down pirates by cracking first pirate fishing done by foreign fishing companies, the Koreans, Italian, Spanish, and Kenyan fishing vessels, and some French fishing vessels coming all over from Taiwan. Stop those drug trafficking, gun running, and robbery, sea piracy and robbery. Why? Why we are saying this? We're saying this because these pirate groups, in Somalia there are about 5-6 pirate groups, and among the 6 pirate groups, the originality of these pirate groups were vigilante groups. they started as vigilant group attacking or stopping fishing vessels from fishing their territorial waters, or stopping the cargo ship from dumping toxins in their territorial waters. And then they grew up into pirate groups. So what the international forces can do, the NATO and the others, stop pirate fishing. Stop all foreign fishing vessels fishing in Somali waters, then the pirates will stop. There'll be nowhere to hide.
Let me put some of these issues to Mahmoud Noor, who's in London for us. You've heard all those ideas which Andrew Mwangura has suggested, stopping the vigilante groups in the first place, looking at the fishing issue, the fishing piracy issue. But I guess the biggest problem is that there isn't a real functioning government in Somalia, is there? Is the transitional government which is there, can they do anything about this? Are they in a position to do anything about this?
Well, the transitional government is part of the problem because we know that the head of the transitional government, when he was the leader of Puntland, he was giving illegal license and collecting royalty, and still he collects royalty to some companies that fish illegally in Somalia. So transitional government is a part of the problem, and they don't have any solution for this. If I go back to the Security Council resolution, that Security Council resolution only look the interest of shipping lanes, but they are not looking on interest of Somali people who are suffering so badly and need a resource. For example, that resolution is not balanced. Why can't they say something about the protection of Somali resource, the chemical dumping in the Somali coast, the illegal fishing? Why can't they put together that and produce a resolution which is balanced?
So why do you think, just out of interest, why do you think this resolution didn't target those things if those are the root problems?
Well, those are the root problems because these pirates, the way they developed was that they were original fisheries. And then when they realized that their contest with a competition with big trolleys, then they become out of business. And the only business they get is to become a pirates. And it's more productive for them, and it's more efficient. So, and right now, they started about 100 people started. Right now, the militia that use this type of tactics are 1,500. Tomorrow, if they pay the 20 million they requested, that means all Somali young people will come to become pirates because they can become rich in a very easy. So the main reason, the core issue should be addressed, and the core issue is that the illegal fishing, the dumping of, for example, if I look here, there's French companies, Spanish companies that operate in Somalia illegally using different names. There are Honduras European companies that are using Honduras flags. There are British companies that use police flags. There are Yemeni companies, there are Japanese companies, there are Korean companies, there are Kenyan companies, there are Saudi companies, there are Yemeni companies, there are Pakistani companies, Sri Lankan companies.
And all countries, of course, which are part of the United Nations as well.
Yeah, they carry a bogus license, which is illegal, with the letterheading of previous Somali government, which died 20 years ago. Now, this illegal fishing is the cause of the problem, and I think international community should stop that. And when they stop that, and then the Somali fishers get a chance to catch fish in their coastline, then I think this problem can be solved easily. The other thing is that Somalia, this government, TFG, we know originally they were warlords. They are responsible for the death and destruction of Somalia. I think Kenya and Ethiopia established this phony government, and it has no any legitimacy in the eyes of Somalia.
Okay, so let me stop you there. Let me just stop you there because
international community are trying to impose this type of government, but it will be much better to consult with Somalia and try to support the Somali people to bring
We're just running out of time,
legal.
Mr. Noor, I'm sorry. I just want to get a final question across to Professor Franz there in Dundee. Just briefly, I want to go back to what we started with, the whole issue of the ship which has been hijacked at the moment. You're an expert on this. What's your gut feeling? How is this going to end? How can it end?
I think we will negotiate with the pirates to drive the price down. I don't see any chance that somebody will make a first move and board this ship. If you have seen a picture of the ship, that's quite a substantial vessel we are talking about. You need quite a substantial marine commando doing that, as the French did a couple of weeks ago in the dead of the night. But now the pirates are prepared. I would really counsel against such an action. I would rather pay up whatever comes out of that, that's the best way out of a very bad situation, I feel.
Gentlemen, we're all out of time. My thanks to Mahmoud Noor in London, Franz Lear in Dundee, and on the line from Mombasa, Andrew Mwangura. Many thanks for your time, and to you, our viewer, thank you for joining us here on Inside Story. From the whole team, goodbye for now.